Welcome, welcome, welcome. This is one of my favorite workshops of the year, and the reason why is because it's on the raw side. I like to do the workshops where I kind of get to be straightforward, direct, give people what really makes the ultimate difference. So this workshop is more about thought process. It's more about thinking. It's less about content. It's less about the little details on this, and this, eat this and that and all the others. So it's a little bit more engaging. I like them that way. So I always start off with this. Warning, this may hurt. Does anybody in here watch Ridiculousness? No? Nobody else? Does anybody even know what that show is? Okay, well, I'll just pre-frame it. This is one of my favorite shows. This right here is called a scorpion. Okay, it's when you fall and your face is going one direction and your legs are going back, bent over the top of your head. The whole purpose of this show, Ridiculousness, is a bunch of different stuff like this of people getting hurt. And it's all YouTube videos and stuff of people doing very, very dumb, ridiculous things, and they're getting hurt. But it's really funny to watch. So the point I'm trying to make here is that it hurts, but it's fun in the process, right? If you can get through the pain, you find some enjoyment in it, right? So suffer through it, but you're going to walk out of here knowing how to address things a little bit different. So I'm going to start right here with the sad reality, because for most people, the reason why they don't move is because they think everything's okay. Am I right? We just kind of float by because we think everything is just kind of status quo, and as long as we just can kind of float in that groove, then why change anything, right? If it ain't broke, don't fix it. That's definitely a modern day quote. But the problem is most of us don't we don't realize how broken we are. And until you realize where your breaks are, you can't fix them, right? So we need to constantly be in the process of identifying even the smallest of our weaknesses so that we can tackle them. Because if we're not in the process of actively tackling problems, then really you're not getting better, you're actually sliding, you're getting worse. There is no stagnant, right? That's what we teach our kids all the time. There is no just getting by. You're either going up or you're going down, one of the two. So you better make sure that you're constantly improving, because otherwise you're constantly getting worse. Okay? So the sad reality, the standard North American diet, just for an example here of the overall health, obesity is a good place to start when you're talking about the overall health of our nation. 63.1% of American adults are overweight. That's 1 million worldwide. 35.9% of Americans are considered obese, making us number one in the entire world. So over 1 out of every 3 Americans is considered obese. That's a problem, right? Yet, how many people, would you say that 1/3 of Americans think that, or rather, would you say that 2/3 of Americans at least think everything is perfectly fine? Oh, I'm good, right? I guarantee you it's at least 9/10 of every man out there. Oh, I'm good. No problem whatsoever. They can't see their shoes, but everything's good. Everything's fine. Since 1980, obesity prevalence among children and adolescents has almost tripled. Since 1980. Now, I guarantee you, that's worse now. We're talking 30 years later, this problem is even worse now. Obesity is linked to heart disease, stroke, diabetes, and cancer, the leading cause of preventable death. So the crazy part here is the things that people are dying from are preventable. Think about that. And they're not even difficult in terms of prevention. They're actually relatively easy. It's like, on a daily basis, it's, do I stop at Taco Bell or do I make a sandwich? Right? It's like it's the simple decisions that get us in trouble. It's not the big epic ones. It's not like, you can come up with so many different examples. It's not tough stuff. It's the small details consistently over time. In 2008, medical costs associated with obesity were an estimated at $147 billion. Now, here's probably the big ticker here. Where's that $147 billion going? Pharmaceutical companies, healthcare. So while it's a problem for America, you see it's actually a profitable solution for the industry. So it can't be, it's not going to be a policy issue. It's not going to be a government solved problem. It's got to be solved in your seat, right? We've got to be the ones to solve the problems. And so I use just the overall state of obesity and health, just as one example, but you're going to have to plug in your own resolutions here, and I'm obviously it's called revolution because the idea is obviously this started from resolution. So how many of you guys had a resolution at the beginning of the year? Be honest. Nobody? Well, I'm talking to the wrong crowd then, right? Okay. I mean, that can go two ways. Either
it's all year.
Hey, yeah. Let me ask you completely different for this crowd then. How many of you should have had a resolution at the beginning of the year?
All year.
Okay, see, different question. But all of us should have we should have done something. Now, I agree with you. We shouldn't be, January 1st resolution every year. And, that's a whole nother story. Usually they're failed. So here's the resolutions. They're temporary, yearly, short-lived goals, right? That's basically what it is for most Americans, most people around the world in general. They're temporary, yearly, short-lived goals. They're just things that we set up every year, but how many of them are actually met? How many people actually saw, and maintain? I mean, it might be something that you do for a little while. It's like, I'm going to go on a fast for 30 days and I'm going to change my health. And they might do the fast. But what happens by July? Yeah, they're buying a new swimsuit, right? It's like it's every year they continue to fall off. So it's not really creating a revolution where something actually changes for the long term. Most people are determined to achieve goals, however, lack the resolve to follow through, right? We don't actually have the resolve to stay put, and that's really where the problem comes in. Because what happens over time is you have this trend of you fix a problem, you achieve a goal, but then when you see it fall off, what happens? We lose a little bit of oomph, the next time that we want to achieve something. So for the average person, they'll set goals, and those goals become further and further and further apart until at some point they don't even set resolutions anymore. Right, so I might be talking to a few of you here on that point, why we don't have the resolutions. So it should be the opposite way around, where there's a resolve that when goals get accomplished, you saw it accomplished, now you have better resolve for the next time something comes along. So at some point, it's like you don't even need resolutions anymore because you're just a goal setter, you're just a goal achiever, you just knock down things left over left, right? So good intentions are, they're exactly that. They're good intentions. But what good do good intentions really do for you? Anybody ever walk out of the courtroom because they had good intentions when they shot somebody? No. I mean, good intentions only go so far. They don't really create change. Another one, you're not going to change your health or your life by what you're going to do. It's what you do that makes a difference. What you're going to do really doesn't make the difference. Now, I agree with you that everything is created twice, right? If you're going to build a house, it's got to first be built in your mind, and then you've got to do the work. But the important part is the doing. It's not the coming up with. Ideas are great, but they only are great if they're actually done, if they're completed. All right, stop lying to yourself about where you are and where you need to go. This is a big one because there's a lot of self-help stuff out there that is like, look yourself in the mirror and say, you are wealthy, you are rich, you are, anybody ever heard that stuff? But the reality is, how well does that work? Right? Do you not know that you're lying to yourself? It's like you look in the mirror and you say, well, I'm wealthy, I'm rich, and the back of your mind, your subconscious is saying, who are you talking about? Because you're broke, right? It's we've got to be straight. We've got to know, and we've got to be direct about what our problems are, and not lie to ourselves. Because when you stare them straight in the face, now you can fix it. Because you're not trying to believe yourself into something differently. If you are something, you have to be something else, and that means change, real change. Not political type change, real change. Okay, so an individual who is truly resolute rarely sets New Year's resolutions because setting and completing goals is a common action throughout the year. Right? So a resolution, the new year comes around, it's not a special day. It's just another day on the calendar. It's a day forward, and typically you'll look at it as, excitement for the future. What's going to happen next? What's going to happen next? What's going to happen next? You see how if you're used to setting and achieving goals on a regular basis, tomorrow is always exciting. Because it's like, well, if this is where we're at now, where are we going to be in 5 years? Where are we going to be in 10 years? Where are we going to be in 20 years? It's like it's constantly exciting instead of the drag. Like, oh my gosh, I've been in debt my entire life. Oh, what am I going to do in 10 years when I have to retire? Right? It's like, it should be a different mindset. So if you find yourself thinking about future in the negative tense, what does that tell you about where you are and where you need to change? Right? It shows that there's something in there, there's bad programming in place, because you should be excited constantly about the future if you're the type that sets and achieves goals. Does all that make sense? Okay. So we want to get real good at completing goals. All right, so what is your why? What is the why behind it? This is one of the big questions. This is where most people get really good at achieving goals. It comes down to what do you put behind it? What's the punch behind it? What's actually making you move forward? What's the big why behind it, right? So one of the clearest differences between those who do and those who try, don't you love trying? Love the triers, right? All the time. Has anybody ever told me try? In the room, right? One of the examples I absolutely love is I'm like, somebody says try, and I'm like, here you go. Try to pick that up. Right, try to pick it up. Yeah. No, stop. I said try to pick it up. Right? It's like, okay, so you can't. There is no try. You see that? You either you pick it up or you don't. There's no try. A try doesn't exist. Try is a lie that you tell yourself to give you an excuse to back out. Right? So that's one of the clearest differences that I see between those who do and those that try are the reasons they put behind completing their goals. What's the reason? Is a reason about something big enough that now it's worthwhile. I'll give you an example. My dad, he was a smoker for, I didn't know this until I was older, but he was a smoker until, something like 13 years, something like that, until my oldest sister was born. And the minute she was born, he quit. And he just dropped it. Yet I have, how many people do you know who smoke and they continue to smoke and they just cannot break it? And the question still comes down to what is the reason why? What is their why behind it? For my dad, I imagine it went something like, I'm not going to smoke around my daughter, that I don't want my daughter having to breathe that stuff. So it was no longer about him, it was about somebody else. So the whys that involve other people in service tend to be bigger. Now you see, what are the whys that usually fail? The ones that are about us. The ones that are simply self-centered, those are typically the ones that fail. Those are the ones where you just do it for a while, and then, if I don't complete it, I'm not really letting down anybody else. I'm just letting down myself, and that's okay. Right? It's not okay. That's the problem. It's not okay. You're just as important to yourself as you are to everybody else, because what you do and your consistency of actions is what affects everybody else around you. So the point behind that, make it real easy on yourself, make it real easy in terms of setting goals, and always involve other people. Always have the involvement of other people in your goals, and you'll find you knock them down a lot easier, right? A perfect example, the dad who works 2 jobs to support his family. Does he typically complain about having to work 2 jobs? Yet you have the teenage, girl, boy, doesn't matter, the teenager who really doesn't need to work, who just works for extra spending money. How much do they complain about having to go to work? You ever heard that, where they're like, oh man, I have to go to work today, because they want to go to the beach. It's self-centered. It's not about having a family. When you have a family, it's different. It's radically different. So, make it about somebody else. Another key to goal setting is the quality of emotion. If the goal is the nail, the emotions put behind it determines the size of the hammer used to drive it. So think about if I had a little safety pin, right? And I took the safety pin and I threw it at you. What's the likelihood that it's going to hurt? It's probably not going to. I mean, maybe if I hit you in the right spot and got you right with the tip, it would be different. Now, let's take that same safety pin and I'm going to mount it on the end of a board. Okay? Right? I mean, we can drive that thing straight through your skull, basically. I mean, it's got a lot more power. Gruesome example, don't worry. But you see the point? That is what emotion does. Now, this is really cool. I'll kind of tangent off this for a second in terms of memory. You know what they found out in the research here recently, in recent years, how memory is actually sustained. Okay, and this is big because it's all about patterns. Memories are stored in your brain as proteins. They're real structures, real substance. It's not just something that floats off in the mystical non-reality, right? All that stuff that's just kind of floats around in your head and it's out in this cloud of energy, or around you. That's not how it works. They're actual proteins. So what happens is when you record a memory, it sets up a protein in your brain that is like a bit of information on a hard drive. And the crazy part is your brain has the ability to record something like 1.5 million years worth of data. And that's not it. That's recording every single bit of input through your eyes, through your ears, through your nose, through your mouth, through your touch, every sense of everything, whether you see it consciously or not. The picture that was over on the wall that I didn't really look at, but my eyes still took in, all of that information is recorded. And it's permanently recorded in your brain. You don't realize it's happening because that's how little you have. I love in the video that we're playing this week, Bruce Lipton is talking about this stuff. And he shows this picture that's so many bits of information. Anybody see that in the video this week? Look for it in the video. It's really cool. He shows a picture that's X amount of bits of information. Thousands, like 400,000 bits of information, pixels on this picture of like a tornado across a cornfield. And then he shows another screen that's one little dot. I mean, you can barely even see the dot. And he points out that in terms of information, that little dot is what your subconscious actually pulls in, that you're aware of. And in fact, he had to blow up the dot on the video so that you could see it. The dot would actually be invisible if you were just looking at it, because it would literally be one little pixel on the screen. But your subconscious is actually recording the entire picture all the time. That's really wild. So, knowing that, all of that stuff is constantly being laid out in your brain as proteins. So, a protein lays down in your brain, but see, emotions actually come in. If there is an emotion attached to that protein, basically it's imprinted a lot faster and a lot firmer in your subconscious, in your brain. It's actually recorded with greater integrity. So, think about a traumatic experience in your life, or on the other end, an incredibly joyous moment in your life. Can you recall the details a lot better than what happened at the grocery store 8 weeks ago? Right? I mean, you can remember those big things. You'll never forget them because they had so much emotion impacted behind them that it made a permanent recording instantly. Now, there's another way that you can record, and you can change how you act, and you can change what tapes are played in your brain, and that's through repetition. If you keep imprinting the same thing over and over and over and over again, you do enough repetitions, and that will actually stick. It will move from, the proteins, they lay down in your short-term memory, and then they get imprinted over into your long-term memory. So what happens, follow this, you lay a protein down, okay, in your short-term memory. If it's impacted with either a strong emotion or through repetition, that will get then dumped over and recorded in your permanent memory, and it's on the hard drive for good. Okay? Or if it's not, and it's just a passing thought, it's something that's unimportant, it will actually, that protein will denature and will dissolve. It will fall away. And this stuff is, we could keep going on this information on how it works, but just understand that this is it's a physical thing, which means what? You have the ability to alter the way that it's done. You have the ability to change it. So, a key to goal setting, of course, is the quality of the emotion. If you want to set a goal, if you want to achieve a goal, man, get some emotion behind it. Really figure out why you're doing what you're doing. Really figure out why you want to achieve it. And when you do, now you're going to have the power behind it to do it. Okay? The path of least resistance makes men like rivers crooked. I love this quote. Obviously you can see the purpose behind it. It's saying, most people, they'll take the path of least resistance. That's the way that a river grows. It doesn't cut through rock. It's going to go through the pebbles and the dirt off to the side. That's why rivers end up crooked, right? They just take the path of least resistance. Water will always do that. That's the way most people act too. They take the path of least resistance instead of cutting through even the hard places. Okay? Now, the typical pattern following that idea is full participation in the holidays. Right? We call it the holidays because everybody's completely dazed out during that time of the year. And this really, this centers around, this is why resolutions fail. Okay? That's why we're tying in this time of the year. The holidays is when? Basically, the entire months of November and December, right? From Halloween forward, everybody is just completely off base until after January 1st, and then everybody says, "Oh, it's January 1st, time to go back to work, time to go back to reality. Now I got to undo all the junk that I did." So January 1st, you set a resolution. Then you give up or just completely forget shortly after. Any room full of people that set resolutions, 50% of them completely forgot what they were doing. Oh yeah, I did say I was going to do that. I guess I got busy, right? Oh, that was important, right? That was real important that you got that. You forgot about it. So by the following holidays, you're worse off than January 1 of the previous year, and you're still headed downhill. So it's basically this, it looks like the stock market. It's like this. But if you take the pattern, it's a slow downhill progression. So you don't see it over time. Well, shortly after college, right, it's probably a much bigger downhill regression. And then you just kind of amp the curve after that. But it's a slow downhill battle. And isn't that where most people live? So obviously we want to change that pattern. So here is the revolution method. Set the goal, persist until complete. I love the quote that's back there on one of the posters. The value of the postage stamp is its ability to stick to one thing until arrival. Right?
That's right.
If it didn't do its job, the postage stamp would have no worth whatsoever. So then you just repeat that. That's a pretty simple process, right? Set the goal, persist until it's complete, repeat. So failure is not an option. That's the idea. It's simple. Failure is not an option. You just don't allow yourself to fail. And when you take on that mentality, you find yourself, you just don't fail. It's like, even when a challenge comes up, it's like, well, so what? Because you're going to find a way around it. One way or another, you're going to find a way around it, or you're going to die trying. Anybody see the Navy SEALs movie? The one that just came out, Lone Survivor? We just saw it the other night. Really good movie. And that is what they train the best of the best of the best, the most elite warriors in the nation. For them, failure is not an option. So it's like in the movie, these guys have bullet holes all over them, missing fingers. They've fallen off of cliffs, bounced off of rocks. You're like any normal person, after the first cliff falling off of, they would have just lay there and said, please, just shoot me now, right? But, these guys have literally fallen down the entire mountain. They didn't walk down, fall down the mountain, get shot all over the place, and they still die sitting upright with a gun in their hand. It's like, it is unbelievable the way that they are trained with this idea. But imagine if you just took on that same mantra. What stops any of us? There's nothing stopping any of us. We all have the ability to take on that idea. So the now challenge. Here's where we immediately start to change it. Starting tonight, what is your goal? Okay, everybody has scrap paper, right? So this is going to be an active process here. So everybody, pull out your phone, pull out your coffee cup, pull out your something to write on. Write something down, and there's a reason why I'm having you write it. It's not for you particularly. Okay, so everybody pull out something to write. Everybody got a pen? Everybody got some way of recording? Some way of proof of recording? Yes? Yes? Okay. All right. You're going to be back checked. You don't want to not do this. 20 burpees if you don't do this. Okay. I told you guys this might hurt. Okay. So what is your goal? Write it down. Take a minute. Write down what your goal for right now. What is it that you need to fix? What is it that you want to do? What is it that you want to be? What is it, what is the number one thing? You already know what it is. It should be simple. There's one thing you want to do. Just, flip your hand up when you're done. Sorry, I'm done. Okay. Done. Left. Did you guys write yours down? You got yours? You got yours? Yep. Let me back check. You don't want to do 20 burpees. Whatever it is you want to fix, whatever it is that you want to do, if you were to set a resolution, what's the one thing you want to do? What's the one thing you want to fix? Okay. Okay. Whatever it is. Man, the worst thing you got to fix is planting a garden. That's good. All right. You guys have it written down, right? Okay. You'll understand that in a second. Starting tonight, what steps must you take to achieve the goal that you wrote down? Write those down. Write down at least 3 things that you have to do in order for that to occur. At least 3 things that you have to do. Don't you guys love the idea of a workshop where you actually do something? You don't just listen for a while and then go home and not change anything? This is called real learning. I actually built these in so I could enjoy my coffee before I got cold. It's a real reason. That was my goal, to enjoy my coffee.
Yeah, you're dead.
See? Done. Okay, anybody need more time? Everybody got your 3 things written down? Okay. You need an extra pen? Can they have an extra pen in the back? All right, so we got our 3 things, right? Okay. Everybody's good? Everybody's got it? All right, here's the tricky part. Stop here, right now, and do something now to see how easy it is to act. Okay? So I'm going to go around, and we're going to help each other on this. Okay? So this is where it gets really interesting what your goal is. What was your goal?
I want to start first.
You don't want to start first?
I said stop procrastinating.
Stop procrastinating about what?
School.
Okay, what were your 3 things?
I said schedule it, prioritize, and do it.
Okay, schedule it, prioritize, and do it. Okay, so what can you do right now, this instant, to make that happen?
Schedule it.
Schedule it. Okay, so while we're going through and doing the rest of everybody's stuff, what are you going to do?
Schedule it.
Schedule it. Go to town.
Okay.
Okay, so I want to be down to my pre-pregnancy weight by my birthday, which is in March.
Okay.
And what I have is exercise, eat less, eat healthy, and less sugar. I do
Okay.
4 things.
So wait, you said exercise? What was the next one?
Eat less.
Eat less.
And
Well,
eat healthy.
eating less, I don't think that one counts right now because that would be kind of cheating if we just said, okay, you're eating less at this moment. So we can't really affect that one right now. What are the other ones?
kombucha right there.
Eat healthy, okay. Okay, and less sugar. So we probably saying, I bet you'd agree with me on this one, that the exercise part is probably the one that you can do right now. Okay, so what are you going to do right now?
Exercise.
All right, see you in a couple minutes. Yeah! Everybody give her a hand. Jason, no, I mean, seriously, the point is do something right now. Like don't, and we're going to get to that in a second, that thing inside, that hesitation, you want to, well, I'll just go through that right now because I knew this one was going to come up. This one was going to come up, right? It was somewhere, and already the rest of it, somebody else in here is like, oh my God, I'm going to have to exercise right now. I know he's going to call me. What else can I make up? It's like you're coming up with a whole new goal. Here's the point though, if you wait until tomorrow, what does that tell you about your resolve? You're putting it off. You're already trying to find a way to put it off, right? What are we trying to do? We're trying to quelch the putting it off. So how do you do that? You immediately act. You immediately do something different to just simply start a new tape, right? You're just rewriting the pattern. Because right now, it's like this. It's just this pattern that just keeps on going over and over and over again. Do you want to stay there? So what do? You exit strategy. You go on to something else and you create a whole new pattern by doing something different immediately. So ask yourself, when any hesitation is coming from, where is that hesitation coming from, right? That hesitation, when you say, when you do that, okay, I'm going to go jog right now, but you're not really getting up, right? Where is that hesitation coming from?
I make an excuse that I don't want to do it because my daughter might wake up, or I have to feed her, or I have to keep her on schedule. And then
There you go.
That's an excuse.
Yep. But even let's make it right now. Where was that hesitation? Where you're like, I need to exercise, right? I mean, it's real clear. It's real simple. Right now, I mean, you're like, okay, well, I know what I need to do. But then there's that hesitation that comes out. Where does that come from?
Pride.
Right. It usually comes from pride. It comes from fear. It comes from, but really, it just comes from procrastination. It comes from, oh man, I don't know everybody in this room. Where am I going to do it? Am I going to, oh man, I don't want to go outside. People will wonder why I'm walking around the parking lot. Somebody's going to shoot me. I don't want to do it in the back of the room. People are going to hear me heavy breathing. I'm going to get my, I don't have the right clothes on, right? I mean, it's like all these things start coming on. So you got to ask, where is that hesitation coming from? And here's what you get to. It's not coming from the thing inside you that's going to change it, right? So what do you got to do? You got to absolutely destroy it. You just, in that instant, wherever that hesitation is coming from, you identify it as what it is. You call it out. You say it's hesitation. And guess what? I ain't buying that, right? I'm going to immediately get over it. Anybody ever have fear of public speaking? Perfect example, right? Okay, public speaking. So, Danae, jump up and give us a speech on blueberry plants. Right? Good.
A little bit.
Yeah. So the point is, we've all felt that. I felt that. We'd go to to a chiropractic seminar, and we'd have to do a little thing, get together. I would be like just petrified, knowing that my time was coming up. I would all of a sudden, oh my God, man, I really have to go to the bathroom. You know what? That's a good idea. I'm going to go to the bath. I'd go to the bathroom. The problem is, it was a really long pee, right? I'm gone forever. Like, I never come back to the room. I am gone. And so I would avoid it at all costs. And so as I really learned where this was coming from, and I started to quelch it, now that fear still comes up, right? That fear, it still wells up inside of me. Even now, there's times where I'm like, oh, and I start feeling that thing that I hate coming up in. But what happens? I literally, for me, I'm like, shut up. And I literally start punching myself. Who else? Amber?
Mine is getting all the way off sugar. I got everything to do for mine.
Getting all the way off sugar, okay. So, I thought you were already off sugar. Boy, you played that one really good. She went to Birmingham with, we all went to Birmingham as a group. We took a trip up there, and she was clean the entire time. She was like that. When everybody's looking, you're clean.
Well,
But when you're at home.
acid chips like crazy. I had those with me.
Yeah. Oh, that's true. That's true. Okay, so yours starts now, right? Tonight. And when does it end? What's your end date?
Probably 2 years for the gas diet.
So no sugar at all for 2 years. Okay. Is there any hesitation in you that says you can do that?
My cravings are pretty bad, but no, not.
Okay. So let's do this. Let's set something. In some cases, you need to do this because I'm telling you, 2 years, that's hard. I mean, that's tough to do. So set a goal, 30 days. Reasonable, right? You talk to a smoker, 30 days. You can do 30 days. Now you tell them 2 years, they might might kill somebody. But 30 days, you can do that. So what happens is when you set 30 days, you see that you can do it. Goal achieved, right? So now you set the next landmark, and you hit that one. Goal achieved. You see what happens? Instead of 2 years, oh, I fell off, I failed, right? You break it up into small goals that you can knock down and achieve and achieve and achieve. And you might even say after 30 days, you know what? I'm going to, I'm going to have a bag of apple chips for 30 days. And then the next time it's going to be 60 days. You see how that's going to work a lot better even for a smoker. 30 days, okay? Smoke a pack. Well, that wasn't really good, but you know what? 60 days. And so now it's 60 days. 60 days ends, they're like, it really wasn't all that good that last time, and I've been off for 60 days. I'm good. You see how that works? I mean, it's just a completely different way of setting your goals because you're breaking up into smaller pieces. Okay? What you got?
I said stress less.
Stress less?
Kind of a little bit either vague or big, I don't know, but instead of seeing things that come my way, I guess focusing more on the positive outcome of it instead of maybe you think it may be right then and there, I don't know.
What? Give me an example of that.
I'm on the spot, my brain ain't working right. I really get thinking of them.
Well, is it safe to say it probably involves people?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Usually it's people that stress you out. So maybe it's a matter of, somebody that you need to make a phone call to. And just chat for a minute. Say, hey, love you. Have a good night.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So, okay, so while we're going, because that's a tough one,
Yeah.
think about what you can do right now to change it. Okay? And don't let yourself have hesitation. Figure out something to do
Yeah.
that you can do right now.
Yeah.
Okay? What you got?
Mine's always the same. It's change my diet for better. Just coming here, I know it's better, but I think the advanced plan, well, I know the advanced plan is the best thing for me, and I guess kind of like Amber's talking about the no sugar deal. The other day you said something to me about eating sugar, and I said, I don't eat sugar. And you said you eat grains,
Yeah.
and I do, so that's my biggest thing right now is I want to
Okay.
stop the grains.
Okay. And you want it bad.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So
It's not easy.
so you start
Right now.
right now. Okay. When's just like her? When's your end date?
Well, actually, we was kind of talking about this today, and we, of course, we was saying 90 days, which is 3 months.
Okay.
So
So
90 days is.
I'll make the
2
suggestion.
years.
Let's just make the suggestion just like her,
Like hers.
and say, why don't you just say March 1st? March 1st is your next cheat day. Right? That's doable. It's 30 days. You can go on it full out for 30 days, and if you feel like you need to, on March 1st, you guys go out to dinner, whatever. Have a piece of cheesecake. I don't know. But 30 days, doable, right? You can do it right now.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, do you believe you're going to do it right now? Do you?
I do. Yeah, I
Okay.
believe it.
Good.
Can I ask you one thing?
Yes.
Is quinoa a grain?
Yes. Yeah, well, it's kind of in a different category, but yeah, it's still a grain.
It's off the advanced.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's I definitely wouldn't qualify it with like rice or wheat, or bread or pasta or anything like that. I'd be okay with you eating, smaller amounts of quinoa on the diet.
Okay.
Okay. Did we already do yours? Yeah, you went out.
Exercise, but
You went outside and
yeah.
did something. Okay, good. It's like, yes, I got off my butt. Right. What'd you got?
That's the second time I did it today.
That's the second time? Hey, even better.
I went outside also.
You went outside also? You went outside.
I went outside.
What was yours? The garden.
We both had some big ones.
Mine is, I want to be more consistent in my Bible study, and I want to share my testimony.
Okay. Give us your testimony.
Let me share.
That one's easy.
Yeah, I can share.
Yeah.
It's been awesome. I've been a Christian for almost 7 years now, and God has totally transformed my life. I mean, before when I was hopeless, now I have hope. Before I didn't have peace, and now I have peace that passes all understanding, no matter what I face. Before I didn't know how to love nobody but myself, and now God's showed me how to love people and love my family. He's blessed me with a husband that I didn't deserve, and kids that I love to death, and He showed me purpose in life, and He's given me everything that I think everybody hungers for, and I just absolutely thank Him for it, and I love Him for it. So
Amen.
Yeah.
All right. I think we hit everybody, right? Okay. So that feels pretty good, right? To be able to, you got the letter done?
No.
You're working on it. Hey, a friend is getting a letter tonight, right? Just finish the letter later before you go to bed. Okay, so it feels good, right? When you do something, you get up. Now, think about it from the other hand. How would you feel, I'll ask you since it all kind of started with you, how would you feel if we got done with the workshop tonight and in the back of your throat, in the back of your mind, that you had the opportunity to get up and do something and you didn't?
Condemnation.
Right? You feel it and it would just aggravate you. But how easy was it? What were you right there? I mean, if I had not pushed would you have gotten up?
No.
No. Right? I mean, for most of us, that's and I'm not singling you out. For most of us, that's what we do all the time. You see, we sit back and we hesitate and we hesitate and we hesitate, but we hate that. We don't like the feeling, but we repeat it over and over again. Isn't it weird? And where it comes from is the fear of failure. It all stems from the fear of failure because we failed before and we don't want to fail again because we have it stamped in our minds. Maybe it was your parents that were overbearing, and told you that you had to win all the time. So, and you got in trouble when you failed. Maybe it was a teacher. Maybe it was, you didn't hold up to the standards of, people at your church, or who knows? Who knows? Maybe you're just too darn hard on yourself. But the fear of failure is absolutely ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. If you fail, who cares? It's like, kind of the way, with Red Bar, I looked at it right from the beginning. I'm like, well, I'm going to try this. It's insane. It's, borderline stupid, right, to start a coffee shop when I'm a chiropractor. But if it fails, you know what? I lost some money. Oh, well. But at least I tried it. At least I'm not getting 30 years down the road and saying, well, I wish I had tried that. Man, I wonder what would have happened if I had tried that. And what happens is you get paralyzed. You never jump. You end up just getting on the edge, and you never jump because of that fear of failure. You know what? Just jump. It ain't that big a deal. Tomorrow, nobody's going to know that you went outside and ran in the parking lot. Nobody's going to remember it. And we're always worried about what everybody is thinking about us. I tell kids all the time, the teenage kids who are worried about other people making fun of them and everything, and they're like, well, people are making fun of me. I'm like, listen, why do you care what they think of you? And they're like, well, because they make fun of me. And I'm like, no, see, you got this all wrong. They're not worried about you. They're worried about what everybody thinks about them. They don't care less about you. The only reason they pick on you is because it affects the way other people look at them. I'm like, it's real simple. You want them to stop picking at you? Just look at them funny. Just give them weird faces. Just say something dumb to them. Just throw yourself out there like, whatever. I don't care what you think of me. They'll leave you alone. Just like that. Because everybody's only worried about what they're thinking about themselves. That's it. At the end of the day, that's really it. Did that just turn off again?
No, it's still good.
It's still going. Okay, that was somebody else's phone. Okay, so we beat that one half to death. Let's move on. Good job, by the way, everybody. Weight loss example. Let's go through what needs to happen right now if weight loss is your plan. Step 1, address nutrition. Start all in on the advanced plan. Right? We saw this one coming, right? As somebody in here, this is just what you need to do. All in. There's no, well, I'm going to try it. It's just, you just do it. The plan, it's one page, right? It's not hard to do. It's words on one page. You can memorize one page, right? And then stick to that thing. We make it too hard in our head. If you want to start the advanced plan, about the only thing that could stop you is not having the packet of knowing what's on the advanced plan. So pick up a packet. It's easy, isn't it? Right? We just got to change the way that we look at these things. Step 2, address toxicity. You've got to address toxicity. So go home and throw out the garbage. That's the first thing. It doesn't cost you anything. Throw out the garbage. Meaning, throw away the soap that's filled with petrochemicals. Throw away your toothpaste that's filled with fluoride. Throw out your, medications that you don't need to take. If it's like a medication like seizure medication or thyroid medication or something like that, you might hesitate on that. But, antidepressants, throw them away, right? You got to get rid of the garbage. If you can afford it, replace with better stuff and start detox program. If not, you got bad breath for a few weeks. Oh well, right? It's just do something different immediately. Step 3, address laziness. Okay? If you can't run, walk. If you can't walk, crawl. But by all means, keep moving. That was Martin Luther King. Said it real well. if your knee-jerk response is, but what about? Right? I've been in so many, I've taught so many workshops on exercise, and there's always that person in the room, but what about, my special situation? And, what I've learned over the years, my response to that is, well, that's your situation. Fix it. Like, it's your job to figure out that because it's your body to understand. I can't figure that out for you. It's time that we end the day of, the doctor is the one to figure it all out. My financial advisor is the one that's got to figure it all out. My lawyer is the one that's got to figure it all out. My pastor is the one. Why is my life all messed up? My pastor isn't doing his job. He's got to teach better. No, you got to teach better. You got to read better. You got to do the steps. It's your job to figure you out. Nobody else can do it for you. So, if your knee-jerk response is, but what about? I don't know. Figure it out. That's a harsh reality, isn't it? Especially if you've got one of these problems. But the idea is just do it. Now do you see why Nike uses that? They got it pretty good. Just do it. It doesn't matter what it is. Just do something. Just get off your butt. It's laziness. Okay, scoreboard nutrition points. These are things that you want to make sure. These are the big pointers, the ones that really make the difference. Okay, number one, change the meats that you're eating. If you're eating food that's raised like that, you are not going to be healthy. This is feedlot cattle, the stuff that's eating nothing but corn and candy and all that kind of stuff. You've got to get rid of these meats. Eat natural raised foods. Eat, not vegetables that were grown in warehouses with synthetic chemicals and sprayed every day with, pesticides and herbicides and, genetically modified and everything else. Stuff that really grows out of the ground. If you can grow it in your backyard, grow it in your backyard. Eat better. That's the point. Change the meats that you're eating because the meats is way more important than the other, than the vegetables and the fruits because it's concentrated nutrition. And unfortunately, most Americans eat way too much meat in the first place anyway, so that makes it even more important. Okay, so change the meats that you're eating. We'll make it easy. There's grass-fed beef next door. Go shoot a deer. They're usually organic. Get some grass-fed chicken, some free-range chicken, free-range turkey, wild-caught Alaskan fish like salmon, all that kind of stuff. It's all on the list in there. There's no way to make pigs healthy. There's no way to make certain kinds of food healthy. Okay, so pick up the nutrition plan up front and make sure that you're eating according to that as far as what meats you eat. Fat has a bad reputation it doesn't deserve. The low-fat craze is completely and totally wrong. If it were not wrong, your brain would not be made of fat. Okay, your brain and your nervous system, the most important organ system in your entire body, is made of fat. Is fat bad? No. It's the quality of the fats and the type of fats that you're eating. Like I said, there's no way you can make pork fat healthy. There's no way you can make hydrogenated soybean oil healthy, by buying one brand instead of another. So you got to know what oils to eat. All of that stuff is in the nutrition guide. Admit you're a sugar addict. Join a support group if necessary, and go cold turkey.
So you may be asking, what is Community Appreciation Day? Community Appreciation Day is a promotion we offer periodically so that someone can come into our office, get an insight scan, and a consultation with Dr. Mike at no charge. Here's where you come in. Everyone has a friend who really needs to be here. Who's yours? Is it the friend who gets migraines? Is it your family member who's on blood pressure medications and we know they shouldn't be? You can be the person that gives them the answer to their health crisis. Either invite them or have us invite them to this event. They'll get to see our office, get screened for potential problems, and ask Dr. Mike why chiropractic is relevant to their health issues. This can be the catalyst that changes your friend's health, but we need your help. Will you be the person to tell them about Community Appreciation Day, or come to the front desk and let me know to invite them? I hope you will. Thanks.